Hey, this is Matt from the ManCave, guys. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching with your daily devotion. Daily devotion for March the 10th. Hey guys, I notice I'm getting a lot more subscribers. I just want to say thank you, okay, for posting those videos, and a lot of people are seeing those videos on your social media sites. Hello. Hey, look at, and they're subscribing to the channel. Here's the thing. I'm so grateful. A big thank you to my Patreon partners. Put your fist out there. Come on. If you join the channel or you're a Patreon partner or you're watching the videos, okay, or if you've ever commented or if you've ever come across me in a supermarket and you've hugged me, give me a fist bump, okay? 3, 2, 1, boom! I love it. So guys, today we're going to be in Matthew's writings, okay? We know Matthew was what? He was a tax collector. He was hated for doing his vocation. People just hated him. I mean, people thought all the time about murdering Matthew, and yet God chose him, okay? Jesus chose him to be one of the disciples. Guys, I think that is so funny. Not that they wanted to kill Matthew, but you know what I'm saying? That how Jesus, he's always picking the despised, the discarded, the people like you and I, okay? I love it. Again, we're in Matthew's writings, chapter 20, verse 22. Listen to this. You know not what you ask. Friends, I'm just going to stop there. We're not going to go into the whole text, okay? But listen, this is Jesus speaking, and he's saying this, you know not what you ask. There are times, guys, that we have asked something from God, okay? And God, okay, thought this. You don't know what you're talking about. You don't know what you're asking, meaning this, that God is doing something in our lives, okay? And he's saying, if I answer your petition, your request to me, you're going to miss out on all of this over here. I can think of many things that I presented to God, that I asked God, that I was really diligent about. I mean, I was praying not just one time, but for days, sometimes months, even went into fasting, praying for this thing. But I'm glad God didn't listen to me. You know what I'm saying? It's basically God saying, you don't know what you're talking about. You don't know what you're asking for. I think sometimes we're kind of throwing darts at a spiritual dartboard. And we're thinking, well, if I ask for this, I think in my intellect, this is the solution to my problem, because we're always trying to problem solve, okay? Because we're always in problems, because we're in the man cave. If you're in the man cave, you know you've gotten yourself into what? Trouble, okay? We've gotten into trouble just for the mere fact that you're in the man cave, and if you're a woman in the man cave, you've gotten in trouble, not as much as the men, but you have been in trouble, okay? But sometimes we're in life and we're confused. I mean, and what I mean by the word confusion is we're not understanding what is going on. Why is this happening to me? And we say this, I belong to God. I'm a child of the living God. This cannot be happening to me. There's just no way. And so we start brainstorming, okay, because here's the thing, we might have a real great position at that company and we're highly respected. Here's the thing, I can get myself out of this. I've done it before. I'm the CEO, I'm the president, I'm the owner. It doesn't matter who you are, what title you have. We think that we can dig out. We can pull our cowboy boots up and get it on, okay? But that's just not the case, because oftentimes, okay, God is doing something that we know nothing about. We're asking God, and he says, you don't know what you're talking about, you don't know what you're doing, you don't know what you're asking, okay? But we think we do, and we think if you will do this, God, if you will do this, everything will smooth out, because I figured it out. Guys, we have never figured it out, okay? And we are not going to figure it out, because if we figure it out, that means we figured God out. And the reason we don't know what's going on, and the reason we feel so confused, is God is doing something, okay, that we're unaware of, okay? And he's being like this. Shh, I'm with you. Look at. We're confused, but God's not confused. See, that's what you got to understand. We don't understand what's happening, but God understands what's happening. Lord. Yes. See what I'm saying? See, it's not that what you're doing is right or wrong. That's not what I'm saying. It just means wherever you are, you're just feeling like, man, it's just something's wrong. Something's not right. I'm confused. Why am I feeling the way I'm feeling? Why am I going through this? What's going on here? You know what I'm saying? There's all these ifs, ands, and buts. Have you been there? Yeah. Hey, fist bump, never with the left hand, always with the right hand, okay? So guys, you want the key? You're like, man, please, give me the key. It's only going through the confusion, okay, that you finally understand what God was doing. You don't figure out midway, okay? We try to figure it out midway because we want to get out of the hot water. We don't like the feelings that we're feeling. We don't like what we're going through, okay? And we're not understanding, but God's not revealing it. If he reveals it, you have to go through it again. Look. If God was just to say, okay, I'll answer you. You know what I'm saying? Because you're asking. But he's saying you don't know what you're asking for. But here's the thing. Let's say he gives in. Okay, which he's not because he's God. Okay. But hypothetically, God says, okay, here's what I was doing. 1, I was doing this in your life. 2, I was doing this in your life. 3, I was doing this in your life. 4, I was doing this in your life. 5, I was doing this in your life. 6, I was doing this in your life. 7, I was doing this in your life. 8, you're weak in this area. 9, you're terrible in this area. 10, I was perfecting you. And he went through this list of things that really described you. And as he spoke, it pierced your heart because everything he spoke was truth, because he is the light and there is no darkness in him. Are you with me? And then you're like, oh man, I'm so sorry, Lord. He says, that's okay, I forgive you. And you know what he says? He says, I love you. But guess what? And you're like, what? We're going to have to do this whole thing again. But here's the thing. My schedule's kind of busy because for me to organize everything in my sovereignty and prophetically, okay, it's going to take about 4 years to line everything up perfectly like I had it this time, but you were complaining and fighting me on it. And you're like, what are you talking about, 4 years? I don't have 4 years to wait. You have all the time in the world until he calls your number, partner. See, unless you're doing it God's way, okay, you're going through it again. In the Old Testament, we have a perfect example of that, okay, with Israel. They came out of Egypt, okay, they were not believing God, they were not trusting God, they were not exercising faith. So when they went into the promised land to scout it out, they gave a negative report. So God says, this generation's going to die off, meaning this, you're going to just travel around the desert for 40 long years until, here's the thing, okay, you're all dead, but your children, they can enter the promised land. But here's the thing, are you and I not crying, Lord, I want to enter the promised land. I want you, what you have for me. I want that inheritance. I love your favor. I love your blessings. I love the joy of the Lord because I love the light that flows through me, living waters. I mean, here's the thing. I want all that God has to give, but am I giving God all that he wants? And what is that? You know what it is, but here's the thing. We'll start here. It's a relationship with God. It's not what you can do for God, but just resting at the feet of God and listening, okay? And we don't like to listen, and here's the thing. When we're in that state, okay, I use the word state, of feeling awkward, confusion, not understanding what's going on, we're always trying to get out of it instead of stopping and saying, what is God doing? What is he perfecting? How can I get in line with God's will? Because here's the thing. We think God has stepped outside of the cosmos. Okay, he stepped outside of the world just for a little bit. He took a bathroom break, or he did this, or he did this. Okay, and so for a little bit, we're on our own. That's how we think. Because here's the thing. There's no way God will allow me to feel like this. There's no way God would allow me to go through this. Okay, so obviously, I've sinned. God's mad at me. We come up with all these different, okay, thoughts of why this is happening to us, because God would never do this to me because he loves me, okay? The reason you're going through it is he does love you, okay? And he hasn't left you. Although, watch this very carefully, it feels like he's left you. But he promises, I will never leave you, I will never forsake you. But part of the confusion is you feel like he's gone because he's very quiet. Understand, this is part of how God operates, okay? God needs to see if you will hold tight, hold fast, as he's zipping it. You're in the classroom, there's no talking during the test. Hey guys, Oswald Chambers, he comments on this particular text. He says, you will think that God is an unkind friend, okay? But remember, he is not. The time will come when everything will be explained. See, Oswald understood this. Oswald, okay? He actually understood the concept that there's times when God is quiet, when God seems very distant from us, okay? But that is just how we're feeling. That is not the reality of the situation. The reality of the situation is God is right next to you, and he's going to walk you through the confusion and walk you through the season, walk you through the event, okay, that you're not liking. He's going to get you through it. You can't fight your way through it, and a lot of us have tried, okay, only to find ourselves back in the season again years later. Awful. Guys, I can remember times where I was just crying out to God, not being disrespectful, or I wasn't trying to be disrespectful, but just sharing my heart, like screaming, Lord, what is going on? What are you doing? Why did you allow this? And here's the thing, I was so upset. And here's the thing, I thought he was miles away. I thought he was like at some far distant planet, you know what I'm saying? And you know, he'd kind of give a glance my way. He was right next to me. He's walking me through that, because while we walk through together, he's giving me what? He's giving me wisdom, counsel. He's protecting me. He's my provision, okay? Everything I need is in him, and he's with me. His spirit is the seal upon my life, okay? And just because he decides to be quiet, maybe he wants to see how deep is the relationship, because during those times, it really reflects, okay, who we are. It reflects what we have, lack of or more of the relationship with Almighty God. You see what I'm saying? It's like I'm looking in the mirror. It's going to tell. It's the telltale sign. How much of a storm comes, and my ship has already started to sink. I mean, How many steps do I take towards Jesus on the water before I start looking at my surroundings and I cry out and I start to sink, okay? Or can I keep my eyes focused on him no matter what happens, knowing this, that he's God. And he's God of my life, and he's all powerful, and he's not going to let anything happen to me, although I perceive bad things are going to happen because I'm in what? S-I-N. So guys, I say all that to say this. You know what I'm saying? Our verse of the day, it says, you know not what you ask. Aren't you glad that he doesn't answer all of them? I mean, honestly, don't you know what I'm saying? Because we've come up with a solution, but that's not the solution that he has, okay? The solution he has is you and him together, walking through it and learning it by experience. See, watch this very carefully. He already knows what you're going to do, but you don't. You haven't experienced it, okay, experientially. You haven't gone through it, okay? It's one thing to say, yes, I'm strong in this area and this area and this area, but it's a whole nother thing for you and the Lord to walk through it together and for you to know without a shadow of a doubt, man, the Lord's in me. I mean, I held up under the fire. I mean, I was thrown into the lion's den and they didn't even touch me, okay? Fear didn't enter my heart. I mean, it's a whole nother thing to know that God hasn't given me the spirit of fear, but of love and of strength and of sound mind, and have gone through that experientially, and you come out on the other side, and guess what you've done? Well, you've brought in glory to your King. You've drew closer to God. You've gained wisdom. You've gained knowledge. I mean, you're never the same when you go through these experiences, but if you fight it, or haul tail, or try to figure it out yourself, oftentimes you're going to suffer the consequences of having to go through it again and again and again and again and again and again and again. And you and I don't want that, do you? Saying that, no, I don't want that, I don't want that. So if you find yourself this very day, okay, and you're in a tough situation, I just got an email this morning of an individual, okay, him and his wife, they're at a crossroads, they're in a tough situation, something's going on in their life, and I'm not going to share it, you know what I'm saying? I pray about those things, so email me all the time, post whatever you can, okay? Guys, you're right in the palm of God's hand, okay? Trust him. Rest in that. And know that there's nothing that you need to do without him speaking it to you, okay? It's not you having to problem solve and figure it out. Just rest. He will speak to you because for the mere fact that you're his child and you belong to him, and he absolutely adores you and he loves you, and he says this, I'm jealous over you. Man, I was a jealous freak when I was younger. I mean, anyone looking at my wife, man, I was ready to roll with it. What are you doing? But think about God being jealous over you, how much he loves you and wants to just really, really safeguard your life and bless your life. And he knows what it's going to take to get you to that place where you can receive all that he has for you. Hey, this is Matt from the Man Cave.